My 11 Circle presents Cricket Buzz Live. The Bangladesh innings after they were put into bat, a tale of almost three parts. Started off in blazing success, in blazing form early on, and then sort of lost their way, and we thought maybe they could be restricted to around 135 perhaps. And then a few runs towards the end, as you can see, they're 41 for 2 in the last 5, getting them to some sort of respectability. Respectability not just for Bangladesh, but also for the My 11 Circle expert couch, which has found its way not to be around in this halftime show. But today it's there, and it's the able hands of Joy Bhattacharya.
I'm playing the market short. I'm like they say, na, bears in the market. So every day, everyone's going up. Today, I'm continuously going down. I'm only following the Indian stock market. It works sometimes. It doesn't work sometimes.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't know how to comment on that. But yeah, nothing about that. But you obviously are well versed in that. But it was one of those that you could sort of see. There was a point, honestly, I mean, you can refer to the couch, where it looked like they weren't getting to 130, 135. They really had a stranglehold. India did.
No, both ways. I mean, look, there was 78 for 9 wickets in hand. Forget double. You should be doing about 1.3, 1.4. If your score you should have been 180, 190. Two big things out there. One was obviously the leg spin. Chahal was a huge difference. The other was very interesting. Go and look at that card. You'll see there's only 1 6 hit in the entire innings. And that's one of the things that Bangladesh have struggled with. They don't have really big hitters. And in a ground like this, if you don't have guys who can tonk it out consistently, you're going to be in trouble. And somewhere, they got runs, they got 8.2, but, that's just not enough. I mean, on this kind of a surface, they would have thought, at least after their first 10, they should have ended on a 180.
So, Zahir, the point you made the other day, obviously you're referring to India needing a bit more power, but from Bangladesh's point of view, they weren't really tested in a sense in Delhi because they had a small total chase and they chased it efficiently. Here, they had to make the running and they probably have fallen a bit short.
I think they got caught up with the average score at the ground. When you look at setting that kind of total line, you have the platform. They've had a flying start in the first 6 overs, and then after that you expect to get to that 200 mark. And I think that's where they got confused. They lost their way, and the main architect was Chahal, as we've been rightly discussing. I think it was the kind of form which Chahal has been in. He came into bowl that 6th over. Created that opportunity, and then after that, after 10 overs again, he provided these vital breakthroughs, and Mushfiqur was someone who was going to be that key. So between Washington Sundar and Chahal, I think they created that momentum shift which was required for Indian bowling unit. I think it was high pressure game, and in these sort of high pressure games, when you got off on a wrong foot, it's very important that you control the innings and make sure that you still finish strong. You stay in the present, like we are discussing in the com box, and that's what this bowling unit did. I think it's a fantastic job in the second half of the innings, and they deserve all the credit because if you look at it, doesn't matter what the size of the ground is, doesn't matter whether you have power or you don't have power. When you have that kind of platform, as a bowling unit, you're under the pump, and when you're under the pump, you got to think on your toes. You got to think make the right calls. So Khalil Ahmed, even though he was having an off day, it was important that you finish strong. It was good to see Deepak Chahar also being put upon that responsibility of bowling in that back end of the innings, which is again a good sign. I mean, this is how you're going to learn. So I think for Rohit also to show that confidence in him must have helped him a lot now, and it will help him a lot going forward as well.
Yeah, and he didn't chicken out of, say, even chucking the ball back to Khalil to bowl the final over. Yes, he had gone for a few boundaries, but if he's going to be your man for that position, keep that faith.
Not only that, one is that. Second is that in the 10th over, he must have been thinking, where do I get 4 out of? Between Kunal and Dubey, how do I get 4 out? And he got those 4 out. He got them out exactly at the right time. Those 4 went for just 29 runs. Dubey gave 12 in his 2. Kunal Pandya gave 17 in his 2. 29 runs he managed to get out, and that for them is a crucial. Bangladesh should be looking at that and saying, those 4 overs, if we don't get 40, we are behind the game. We're always behind the game, because those are the weak bowlers. They know they're going to be under pressure. Somehow, even though they were in a good position, he managed to get them out. And that's great captaincy by him. I think he's just done very well for himself today. And recovering the game from where it was in the 10th, I think it was good captaincy.
Yep, setting it up, that's what really helped, and we've always give credit to his captaincy, but another person who had a bit of an off day, and it's someone worth discussing, is poor old Rishabh Pant. It all started with that stumping. We just thought Chahal was just coming into it. Beautiful delivery, foxed the batsman completely. Liton Das was on his way back. There was no question of even thinking whether he's back or not back, because he was out by a mile, but that little technicality on whether the fact that the stumps, his glove was in front of the stumps. Now, it's a matter of basic technique, or is it a matter of bad habits?
Well, I think wicket keeping has not been his strong suit anyways, but having said that, you know, sometimes you get into the bad habit. It's like a bowler bowling a no ball. You know, so that's something, you know, which we always speak about, that you practice in the nets. Whatever you practice in the nets, you carry it to the ground invariably. So I think, you know, it's just one of those habits which I think he has developed, must be the recent one, and something which just needs a little bit of fine tuning. I think yes, it is the basic of wicket keeping, and wicket keepers, when you take that profession, they've been taught like that as well. You know, that's the basic rule of it, that you got to gather the ball behind the line of the stumps, and yeah, it's just a habit which is creeped in. Needs a little bit of fine tuning. Could have costed huge today, you know, because considering the moment in the game, the situation of the game was such. You know, you are under the pump. The first wicket partnership was huge. Captain brings the main bowler. The bowler provides that breakthrough. In fact, if it would have gone other way around from there, you know, it was lucky that Liton Das got out after that. But if it had got other way around, would have been too much pressure to deal with, particularly in such a game, you know, where the series is also on the line.
Yep. 1-0 down.
So yeah, I think
it's
it's
that went for 4. Liton Das would have survived. He got a dropped catch. Decided that it was not going to be his day, but really impetuosity of youth, perhaps, because he wants to go too early.
Yeah, that's definitely. And two is we are spoiled, because you see, Dhoni, as far as you know, he is not the most technical keeper in the world, but he was the most fastest stumper that you would ever see in the sport for a very long time. So we are used to that, and so everyone wants to slash, you know, go early and slash, and that's where you can just go above. You know, Dhoni used to probably get it right almost all the time, and we are used to that. But any other keeper seeing that says, you know, I want to do it that fast as well, and maybe you can wait for that couple of milliseconds to let the ball come in behind the gloves. It just happens. But look at the guy. He goes back the next time, runs forward and does a great run out, where he would have really been cursed, because I think the batsman was at the other end, was also out of his crease, and he did.
Yes, and Washington Sundar
was
waiting. Tossed the ball to him to flip
yes,
the bails off.
But he decided to go for it. And see, I tell you what, you have to admire a guy who still under these circumstances backs himself. He backed himself. Even after doing that, he backed himself.
And he smiles, and they're all smiling around him. So let me put this to both of you. Enjoy you first. Now, just imagine you're sitting there in the dugout as team director, be it franchise cricket or in an international game, and you see someone like Rishabh going through this. I mean, everyone else is going to get in his ear, but it's what's the kind of thing you would tell him at the end?
You'll be surprised. A lot of coaches will never speak about this now. They'll never speak about it now because it doesn't make sense. He knows exactly what he's done. You're telling him 5 times, 10 times, 15 times is not going to make a difference. They'll say, okay, cool, calm down, it's happened, get on with the game. They will talk to him maybe into the nets tomorrow, and they're going and say, okay, you know, guys, you need to adjust this now. Because telling a guy for taking initiative, for doing a mistake which he cannot correct now, and it's going to make no difference now, it does not help at all. So the best is, and remember these guys, why has Rishabh Pant got this way, got this far? His technique is not perfect. But he backed himself and said, this is the way I play the game, and doing that, he has come into the Indian team. 1.3 billion people, he is one of the 11 chosen. So he's got this far by backing himself. At this point, the last thing you can do is take away his confidence. So when you need to tell him, you need to tell him at a time when he's not in front of the team, or, you know, putting him down and say, kaisa kya kya kya. It doesn't make sense. Chill. Come later and say, okay, yeah, boss, if you're trying to do this, this is probably where you should be correcting, or this is what you should be doing.
We've heard from the team director. As somebody, if you were the captain, now you have captained him, and again, that's when you need to see when is the right time to talk to him about what and how you handle him, because it's one of those things. I mean, he is a young player. You know, he's always giving his 100%. In this case, it was probably 105%. So.
Well, also you have to look at the situation in exact same fashion. You know, if you give it too much importance, then it's actually going to build too much pressure again from here on in. So I think it's just about looking at it in a very light manner. yes, there is work to be done, and the practice is something which goes on day in day out. So there is enough time as well, and like I said, particularly with the wicket keeping side of it, I think it was this kind of thing can happen. Like I said, it's just a habit which is developed and looks like a recent habit. So it just needs a little bit of fine tuning around that, just a session or two, in terms of snapping you out of that habit is what is required.
You might bring a smile to his face. Tell him, use your babysitting technique. You had a baby with you, which you did so well with. Don't expose him in front of the stumps. Keep him behind. You've done so well. Tim Payne is proud of you.
But I keep saying that the Dhoni has put because he was so fast at it, that he's put so much pressure on every keeper that follows him, because that was the one thing Dhoni did probably better than any keeper in the world, stumpings.
Okay, just to wrap this up with the Indian chase, they don't need any babysitting as far as batting is concerned. They know it's a total that is very gettable. It's just a matter of going out there and getting it. What does their approach have to be? Do you want to say power play, go hard, or just let the innings take its course?
I think so. I think just stay in present, like how it was required earlier. I think the batting unit will be breathing easy. They could have been in worse situation, looking at the first 10 overs and looking at that nervous energy which was there on the field for about first 10 overs. But I think now they will be feeling very confident of just going out there, staying in present and getting the team home.
Yeah, imagine if I was sitting on the My 11 Circle expert couch, there would be worries. 180, 190 to chase. But this is that kind of total where you tell yourself 190, 200 has been scored in T20 internationals before here. It's below par, and let's treat it like that. Maybe Rohit will celebrate his 100th T20.
That should, maybe, hopefully he should, but that's exactly what he said. It's not that they're going to go slow also, they'll just play the ball in its merits. And see, that's a great thing with batsmen like Rohit and Shikhar Dhawan. They have the ability to hit without taking unnecessary risks. If the run rate is 7, 8, 9, they have the ability to hit without really taking any chances. They're good enough to do that. And that's what they'll be saying. Don't take chances, let's make this victory sure. I mean, there's no necessity to dash it. But nor are they going to play defensive and say, let's see it through. I think they'll play their natural game.
Yes, it's pretty unanimous there, which is why we're giving the couch for the entire day to Joy Bhattacharya. We're not taking that away from him at all. So no predictions for the end, besides the fact that we'd all be in agreement that it pretty much should be a foregone conclusion. Yeah, let's talk about the uncertainties of the game. But it looks like something that India should clinically finish, and that is the verdict from here. We'll see how far they've gone in the 10th over on Crickbuzz Combox, but otherwise, with Rishabh Pant being the theme of the show, we are seeing this is pretty much of a baby total to chase. I hope I'm not wrong.